You are one paycheck away from being forced to sell something you cannot afford to lose, and they are counting on that. While you think you are working hard, the system is training you to convert your future into their present, with a smile and with a receipt. And here is the part nobody wants to say out loud. The goal is not just to make you poorer, the goal is to make you obedient. In 2026, that obedience does not look like chains. It looks like subscriptions, rent payments, branded lifestyle debt, and the illusion of freedom you can log into whenever you feel anxious. This is not financial advice, this is financial education about how the money game actually works when you stop pretending. In this video, I am going to break down the consumer trap that keeps most people trapped in a loop of spending, borrowing, and restarting. I will show you why inflation and interest rates do not hit everyone equally. I will connect it to the real 2026 world you live in, where AI is cutting jobs, housing is detaching from wages, and the retirement safety net is running out. The uncomfortable truth is simple. The world needs a large group of people to stay busy and stressed. Not because it is efficient, because it is profitable for the people at the top. And once you see the mechanism, you will stop calling it bad luck. You will start calling it design. So let's begin with a question that will make you angry if you answer honestly. Why do the rich keep looking for more money after they already have everything they need? Picture this. You are scrolling late at night. You see some billionaire, maybe a founder, maybe a tech executive, smiling in an interview. He says he does not care about money. It sounds like a lie, so you laugh. You tell yourself, of course it is PR, of course he is pretending. But sometimes the funniest part is that the lie is not the motive. The lie is your interpretation. The truth is that money is not what he wants. Money is what he uses. He wants options. He wants leverage. He wants the ability to buy assets, influence policy, and hire people to take risks he does not have to personally take. When someone earns millions per day, what is he actually doing? He is not counting dollars like a starving man. He is building a machine. Now here is where your story gets ruined. The machine he builds is not only financial, it is psychological. It is a system that tells you, the person without leverage, to chase the exact things that drain your leverage. And what drains it faster than anything in 2026? Consumption, not just spending. Consumption as a trap. Spending that converts your salary into someone else's revenue while you pay interest to stay inside the trap. If you are thinking, I get it, I already know consumerism is bad, then you miss the key detail. This trap is not merely moral, it is engineered to be legal, repeatable, and endlessly scalable. In 2026, the trap has 3 gears. First, you are trained to want more and feel behind. Second, your income is pressured by layoffs and automation. Third, the system tells you that the way out is not to change the rules, but to change your behavior while the rules stay fixed. And that is why people keep falling for it, even when they sense they are being played. You cannot logic your way out of a trap built into your routine. Pattern interrupt. Let's talk about the environment you live in right now, not some abstract theory from a finance book. Since the Federal Reserve began raising rates aggressively in 2022 and 2023, the pain has not just been higher interest. It has been a wealth transfer. It has been mortgage stress, credit stress, and business credit tightening. When rates rise, the cost of borrowing rises for the people who need credit the most. Meanwhile, asset owners often benefit because they already hold the assets that rise over time, even if they wobble. According to Federal Reserve data, the bottom half of American households owns only a tiny fraction of total wealth. That gap gets wider when prices rise faster than wages. You feel it at the grocery store, yes. But the deeper injury is that you cannot catch up in housing and healthcare, the 2 biggest lifters of lifetime costs. Now add the AI layer. In 2026, AI did not just replace jobs in offices, it replaced the tasks that made middle-class work feel stable. You know this if you have watched entry-level positions evaporate or shrink into do-it-all roles. People are being asked to produce more with fewer workers, while the output is no longer human-only. AI tools can draft emails, summarize reports, code prototypes, generate customer support responses, and edit content in minutes. That changes bargaining power. So when your wage growth lags while costs rise, what is the default human response? To compensate. With credit cards, with buy now, pay later, with refinancing hopes, with just one more purchase to smooth anxiety. And the system loves this part. It is not accidental, it is profitable. So how does the trap start? It starts with what I call false value. False value is when something looks expensive and therefore must be important. It could be a luxury bag. It could be a diamond ring. It could be a brand new car. It could be an upgrade subscription. It could be a course that promises a new identity. It could be the idea that buying the right thing will make you finally feel safe. But the trap is not the item. The trap is how the item changes your behavior. Let me give you a micro story that will feel personal, because it is personal for millions of people. Imagine a 32-year-old nurse named David. He works nights. He does not have time to invest. He is doing math in his head all the time. Rent, groceries, childcare, insurance, student loans. When prices jump, he squeezes. But he also needs something that makes him feel like he is not just surviving. So he buys the thing that promises relief. Maybe it is a premium credit card that gives rewards. Maybe it is a monthly delivery service because it saves time. Maybe it is a small treat that becomes 2 treats, then 4. Months later, David gets a message from his bank. Your interest rate has increased. Your minimum payment is now higher. He tries to transfer balances, but the promotional window ends. He is not stupid. He is not lazy. He is trapped in a math problem. And then a strange thing happens. He starts blaming himself for not being disciplined. He tells friends, I should have saved more. He tells himself, next year I will fix it, but the system counts on that delay. The trap does not require you to fail immediately. It only requires you to keep participating long enough for compounding costs to do their work. Now here is where the darker mechanism appears. They are not only selling you stuff. They are selling you a story about who you are. They teach you that money is proof of worth. They teach you that housing is a reward for being responsible. They teach you that retirement is guaranteed if you are smart enough. They teach you that passive income is something you can watch on social media while you wait for it to happen without doing the hard parts. And in 2026, that social media promise is louder than ever. It is content, shorts, live streams, creator culture. Everyone is demonstrating a lifestyle. Everyone is implying access. But most people making those videos do not have a meaningful income from it. The creator economy illusion is everywhere. A handful monetize. The rest produce content for free and call that building an audience. Meanwhile, the algorithm rewards the loudest, most extreme, most addictive version of the truth, and it punishes the calm version. So the trap becomes digital. Now your consumption is not only shopping, it is time, it is attention, it is dopamine. Every time you scroll, you are feeding an ad market that extracts money from people like you. Pattern interrupt number 2. Think about the biggest lie hidden inside just be frugal. You have probably been told, save more, cut back, stop spending. But the trap is designed so that even when you cut, you still cannot escape the cost gravity. In the real world, rent and insurance keep moving. Housing affordability in the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, Australia, these countries share a common problem. Wages have not caught up with home prices, and when you cannot buy, you rent. When you rent, your monthly obligation grows when landlords reset leases. When landlords reset leases, the wealthy often benefit too, because they own more properties or have better financing options. And while inflation might cool from peak levels on paper, real purchasing power does not magically recover. Your salary buys less than it did in 2019 in many categories. People feel it even if the headline inflation rate is lower. So you cut spending, and then another bill arrives. Car repairs, health deductibles, insurance hikes, climate-driven disruptions that make costs local and sudden. This is why you feel like you are doing everything right and still losing, because you are fighting in the wrong arena. You are trying to win inside a game where the rules keep changing and the scoreboard is rigged. And here is where we stop being polite. The trap becomes legal because it is profitable for the people who write the rules. When governments want to stimulate demand, they encourage consumption. They subsidize spending and employment incentives, yes. But what happens next? More demand and more credit chase the same limited goods and services, and prices rise. Then the central bank raises or holds rates, trying to normalize inflation, but the cost shock has already happened. Even if inflation cools, the damage to wage growth and wealth accumulation stays. This is why people say, inflation came down. And you say, sure, but I still can't afford anything. You are not imagining it. The mechanism is real, so how do they keep it going? They keep people needing money. The moment you truly escape the trap, the system loses its engine, because the engine is you being broke enough to borrow and wanting enough to keep buying. And that is the core idea. Consumption is not your enemy. Forced consumption is your enemy. It is forced by scarcity, by job insecurity, by rising fixed costs, by social comparison, and by the fact that you are never allowed to feel fully safe. And now we get to the second gear, the fake freedom pitch. You have heard of financial freedom. It usually means passive income exceeding expenses. On paper, it sounds correct. If your investments pay more than you spend, you stop trading your time for survival. But in 2026, that definition is used like a bait hook, because the system understands something about humans. If you can make someone believe they are free while they are still paying, they will keep paying with good conscience. So they sell you financial freedom through luxury leverage. Imagine you achieve it. You sell your house, you put the cash into an income vehicle, and it pays you $10,000 a month. Your expenses are $8,000. Sounds perfect. But here is the hidden problem. Many of those vehicles are not truly stable. They depend on interest rate assumptions, on credit markets, on asset prices, and on future reinvestment yields. Meanwhile, the lifestyle you built still costs more every year because the trap keeps raising what you consider normal. Then the interest rate cycle changes, the market drops, the yield compresses. Suddenly, the freedom is not freedom. It is just a temporary pause in paying the debt you replaced with other debt. And the real cruelty is this: even when the math works, the emotional math often fails. You still want the lifestyle, you still want status, you still want the next upgrade. So you take the money and you feed consumption anyway. You become a person with passive income who still has a consumption addiction. That is financial freedom for the rich and a maintenance contract for you. And yes, there are people who appear rich but stay poor inside. You have seen them. The influencer with expensive taste and empty cash flow. The trust fund kid who posts luxury but lives on credit lines and constant cash injections. It looks like wealth, but the real structure is dependence. In other words, the trap does not only attack the poorest, it attacks anyone who mistakes symbols for assets. Pattern interrupt number 3. Let's talk about the symbol industry. Luxury symbols are financial products disguised as aesthetics. A luxury bag is not just leather and a logo, it is a social membership card. A diamond ring is not just a stone. It is a story about eternal value. A Rolex is not just timekeeping, it is brand-controlled scarcity. These items can sometimes be resold, yes, but the average buyer buys them for identity, not investment. And identity purchases are the most expensive purchases because you cannot stop wanting what your brain has learned to chase. Consider something that feels harmless: event timing. When you are told, this is the only time, this is once in a lifetime, it makes you spend as if the future does not matter. Marriage is a perfect example. The registry is not about love, it is about retail incentives. The jewelry and beauty industries do not need you to be wealthier, they need you to spend your existing wealth at the moment you are emotionally vulnerable. Then the lesson arrives later, when you need cash. A diamond is often less liquid than you were told. It is not a disappearing value store. It is an object, and objects depreciate like objects. You cannot argue with depreciation, you cannot negotiate with it, and you definitely cannot mindset your way around it when the bills come. This is where the cliffhanger begins, because it is not just about you buying luxuries, it is about how those purchases train you to support the very people controlling your income opportunities. If you want a real-world mechanism, here it is. The rich do not need you to adore the symbol. They need you to pay for it, and your payment is their revenue. Their revenue funds their investments, their lobbying, their political influence, and their ability to buy more assets. You think you are buying a bag. You are actually renting a future labor cycle. And once you understand that, you realize why the system protects consumption even when it looks absurd. Now let's move to the third gear, the AI future and the new form of consumption. For years, the advice was simplistic. Learn to code, get a tech job, build skills. It sounded empowering. In 2026, you can see the problem. AI writes code. AI drafts designs. AI generates outlines. AI translates. AI summarizes. So your skill becomes less scarce. And when a resource becomes less scarce, its price falls. What is the price in this case? Wages. Wages do not fall because employers suddenly become monsters. They fall because the productivity increase is captured by people who own the tools and by people who can scale output without scaling headcount. In this world, consumption becomes more addictive because the anxiety of job displacement rises. People buy distractions, people buy comfort, people buy status to manage fear, and social media monetizes that. But there is a twist that will make you uncomfortable. The most successful creators on social media are not only selling content, they are building audiences that can be converted into capital. Their attention becomes a measurable asset. Their ability to influence purchasing behavior becomes an asset. While most people are consuming content and pretending it will someday turn into wealth, the few who understand the mechanism are using consumption infrastructure to build real leverage. And that is why the system is not going to stop, because the trap evolves. In the future, the trap might not be a luxury bag, it might be an NFT, it might be a metaverse identity, it might be a crypto product, it might be an AI-generated subscription service. It might be a digital community that sells you access, but the real ownership sits with institutions. In 2026, crypto did not deliver decentralized freedom the way the internet promised. Regulation tightened, and institutions moved in. Banks and asset managers hold large parts of the crypto ecosystem through custody, compliance, partnerships, and investment vehicles. Retail promises of independence became a marketing channel, so the trap becomes financial, digital, and social at the same time. You are not only paying money, you are paying attention, you are paying data, You are paying with your identity. Now remember what I said earlier. The trap needs you to keep needing money. If you stop needing money, the trap loses its power. So the system pushes you toward two behaviors. 1. Keep spending to reduce anxiety now. 2. Keep postponing real wealth building until later, when your income is better. Later never comes, because inflation, rent resets, and job churn never stop. And here is where we reach the darkest understanding, the one that makes you feel sick because it explains so much. They do not require most people to fail loudly. They only require most people to fail silently. The most successful trap is the one where you believe your suffering is your personal flaw. So you keep working and keep paying, and you never organize mentally around the idea that the problem is structural. You blame yourself instead of the system. You argue with friends about budgeting instead of questioning why your wage cannot keep up with housing. You chase tips instead of building actual assets. You watch passive